so useful. So the first job is definitely cutting down the amount of text. So we're going to do that. We're going to cut it down and think, what is it most important about this? Well, I've got something about 10% of those who attend, trainees, 90% of them, individual leaders. The common thread through all of this is really this is all about people. Maybe we can get an image of people and start to manipulate that so that we can then tell the story. And if you're really smart and a little bit arrogant, because I've built the slide and I know what's coming up, maybe you can get a picture of 10 people and you can have one of them to be highlighted as the 10% and the other 9 of them to represent the 90%. And so all of a sudden, instead of having that wall of text number 4, this could be your slide. As an industry, we're spending billions of dollars in corporate training programs every year. That's too much. It's too difficult to think about that level. So let's just think about a typical training environment like this one here that you've all been in. Of all the people just in this one small room, all the time and effort that they've taken to get there and be there and be part of this session, only she is getting any value from it, which means that for everyone else, it's a complete waste of time. How impactful is that in comparison with the wall of text that you had before? How much more likely is it that the management team are going to say, oh, yeah, we need to do something? And of course, we missed the punchline on this, the third and final paragraph, which is say, so we need to do something. And the plan that we have is to make sure that everyone is actively engaged through support, encouragement, and accountability to make sure that they are all benefiting from this training and changing their behavior. And so all of a sudden now you start to think about it more visually. You think, oh, great. But you were coming up with those kinds of ideas. The tricky thing, maybe, potentially, is how do you actually do that in PowerPoint? This is not one picture, as I suggested before. It looks like it, but because of the way PowerPoint works, it's actually several. The first picture you see is this grayscale version of it. The second thing that comes up when I click is then this blurred version of the grayscale. There's a third component, which is the color cutout of the woman here. And then the fourth component is the full screen color image. So this is actually 4 images layered on top of each other. So if I just go to a starting version of this slide here with this one here, I've got this one picture. What I'm going to do is work through the layers of this story. Now, you could split this out over several slides if you like, but when we're creating slides for people at Bright Carbon, we charge by the slide. So I don't want to split it out over 4 when it could be one slide with layers. Okay, but we've got that. We can copy that image. I've got that in the clipboard. And now what I want to do is to be able to manipulate each of those layers as we build them. So the first thing here was making this picture grayscale. You can do that in PowerPoint by going to the Picture Format tab on the ribbon, and over on the left-hand side, you can adjust it. One of the things you can do is change the color, and you can apply color washes that are very interesting to the slide, or you can apply a grayscale. There we are, number 1, done. And now I've got to paste. Now, when you paste for something that's the same, you'll paste it just to the right and just below the original. And if I were to start doing just this, then I'd start to get all sorts of jumping around, which looks terrible. So we're going to use the alignment tools to select both of these pictures and do a line left and a line top. Now it's aligned. So this is the second layer, and I want it to be blurred out. Well, again, you can do that in PowerPoint by going to the Picture Format tab on the ribbon and Artistic Effects on the left. Now, this has all sorts of weird and wonderful ways that you can completely ruin your image. I mean, why you'd ever want inverse neon? I have no idea. But over on the right, second in from the bottom there, you've got this thing called blur, which is lovely because it, well, blurs the image. And that means you can't see the detail. So you're not going to be distracted by it. And then again, we're going to add in that grayscale as well. Great. So that's layer 2. Paste again, Control V, once again, line up. And this time you want to create the color cutout of the woman. Now, this is tricky. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in on her, and I'm going to go to the Shapes gallery. Under Lines, second in from the right-hand side, is this kind of squashed Pac-Man thing here called Freeform. And that allows you to create any custom shape you like. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click at the bottom here and let go of the mouse button. And then move the mouse button up and then click again and click again and click again. And if you just kind of move the mouse button and trace roughly around her, wherever you click, it's going to create an anchor point for you to be able to then create this custom shape. Now, you don't need to be massively accurate with this kind of thing, because for this technique, you are cutting her out against a backdrop of the same picture. So any small variations you're not really going to see, and also you're zoomed in quite a lot, so you're not going to see very much of the kind of the small issues and stuff. So you can be relatively quick. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I've now created a completely custom shape that traces roughly around her. You can then use a second tool called the Merge Shape Tools that allows you to manipulate all the shapes relative to each other. So if I were to select this image in the background, the color one, and then select this yellow custom freeform shape, if you go to the Shape Format tab on the ribbon, over on the left-hand side, I've got these Venn diagram tools here called Merge Shapes, and they allow you to manipulate the shapes relative to each other, as I said. One of the tools here is Intersect, and if I choose Intersect, it will keep just the overlap between those two elements, giving me a cutout of her. Now, like that, it doesn't look very neat, but here, it looks terrific. I'm then going to select both of those. I'm going to add in a very simple animation. So just a simple fade is fine. And then the final thing I'm going to do is paste that in. Once again, line it up. Draw an arrow, but you know how to draw an arrow, so you don't want to see me have some write some text. I'm going to add in a wipe animation, just change the direction so that it goes like that. Let's put this in here like that. And so now, minus a couple of text labels, we've got spending loads on corporate training. It's too much. Only she's getting any value, wasted time for everyone else. Let's use SEA to make sure that everyone is actively engaged. And so all of a sudden, by breaking it down like that, by thinking through, well, what are the main points of the story? What are the visuals that could represent it? And how can I build up the story in sections, in clicks, in builds, so that I can get it across and show the right thing at the right time? You can all of a sudden create these really dynamic visual sequences.